It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video, and today we're going to cover Zammad. We're going to continue building our MSP, and we're going to set up our help desk support software, and it is Zammad, and it is absolutely powerful, incredible, and amazing. I've done a video on this in the past, but it's been a few years, so I'm excited to do an update video. There's a lot of really cool things about Zammad that can help you keep track of all your client support requests, your tickets that you create, everything that's going on with your clients, including dashboards that can help you as a manager down the road as your company grows. Keep track of the things that are being requested of you and your team, and also give reports back to your clients to make sure that they understand the value that they're getting from you. Now, Zammad, just like all the other open source projects we're using, has paid subscription offerings, has hosted offerings, things like that that you can go and check out as well. So as your company grows and you say, I don't want to keep hosting this myself, I want to hand this off to somebody else to kind of host for me and keep up with for me, that's an awesome option. One, if you do that, your business starts contributing back to Zammad staying in business, which keeps you in business, which makes your clients happy, which makes your administrators happy, which makes your employees happy. And at the same time, you're supporting open source. So that's incredible. And that's part of our goal with this whole project. We're going to use Docker Compose today to install Zammad. Now, if you want to install Docker or Docker Compose, I've done that in the previous videos on this series, and I've already shown you that about 150 other times on other videos that I do. I will have the detailed instructions in the show notes of how to do it. It's very simple. I've got a script. You go download the script, set it executable, run it, tell it what OS you're running on, and it will install the stuff that you need for you. It is so straightforward. I try to make it as easy as possible. Once you've got Docker and Docker Compose installed, then you're going to get into the meat of what we need to do today. I know a lot of you wanted me to show that every single time, but it one, takes time. Two, it gets tedious for a lot of people seeing it over and over and over and over like that. So please go back and watch the original videos and see how I do it. Or if you're not interested in those, you're just wanting to run Zammad by itself, check out the show notes. I'll have very detailed instructions, and you can just copy paste information straight out of there. It makes it a lot easier than trying to read it on the screen while I'm doing a video and then you type it in. All right, we're going to get started with the Zammad install and setup for our MSP right after this. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and all of my patrons over at Patreon. Seriously, you guys make this so worth it for me to do these videos every week. I really, truly enjoy it, and I just can't say thank you enough. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe. Let YouTube know that I'm doing a good job by subscribing to the channel. Plus, you'll get notified when I have new videos coming out. And finally, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, give it a like. Just click on that thumbs up, and that way YouTube knows that you like it, and they'll pass it along to other people that might enjoy my content as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you again. Let's get started. We're going to do our Docker Compose install of Zammad, so I'm going to move down. I'm going to go ahead and get past all the stuff where we're installing Docker, and I move down here to this section where it says Git Clone. So I'm just going to highlight that like it was, and actually I don't need the $sign, so I'm just going to highlight it this way. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back here to my server. Now I'm already logged into my server. I'm SSH'd in. And I've already moved into my Docker folder. So inside of my home folder, I've just created a Docker folder. I'm going to paste that command, git clone. That's going to pull down the Zammad packages for me. It's going to create a folder called Zammad. So I'm just going to cd into Zammad. And if I tab, it should auto-complete. There we go, Zammad Docker Compose. And if we do an ls-al, there's a few things here to note. We need to go into this .env file and make some changes because this is our environment variable file. There's not a lot here that we need to change, but a few things. Then we're going to use this docker compose.yaml file to get our Docker Compose application up and running. And I'll show you a couple things you may need to change there, but you don't have to if you're following along and doing things like I am. So first we're going to go into that .env file. We're going to just do nano.env. And in here you'll see quite a few things, but these are our environment variables, and the only ones we really need to change are just a couple down here. So we're going to move down to this one that says Postgres password, and it says Zammad. We want to change that. We're going to make that something really long, really strong, like 32 characters, uppercase, lowercase, and numbers. Just mix that thing up like crazy, make it random so that nobody could ever guess it. The next thing we can do is we can change this user. You can leave it as Zammad if you want to, but if you want to change it, definitely go ahead and change it. So I'll change mine. We're going to leave the rest of this stuff alone here. We're going to keep moving down. Our restart always is on. It's fine. You can change that to unless stopped if you want it to be, but it's up to you. We've got our version 6.3.0. So this is a fixed version. So they're going to pull down Zammad version 6.3.0. Now there's 6.2 if you want to go back one. I don't know why you would. There's 6 if you want to get the base. Don't know why you would. Then there's latest. If you do latest, this is going to pull the most bleeding edge version of Zammad, which is kind of great, but it's only great if it's just you or maybe you and some testing people. If you want to see what's coming in the future, you might run a test system with latest on it. But for your customers in a stable environment, you want to really run it with this fixed version up here that's 6.3. And as they come out with new ones, we can go in and change this value right here and then run Docker Compose pull and then bring our stuff up again with the new versions. And we can do that for all of the versions of the things that they've got up here where it's fixed. So we can kind of track what they're doing and make sure we're staying in line with that. So really, the only thing you need to do is set this password. And once you've set that, you're going to use Control-O and then Enter to save, and then you use Control-X to exit. So I'm going to set my password real quick and then we'll move forward. All right, so I've made my changes to my password. I've saved that environment variable file. The next thing we want to look at is our docker compose.yaml file. So we're going to do nano docker compose.yml, just like that. Now there's a lot of stuff in here, but we don't need to change anything. We're just going to look through it really quick, and where we'll change it is in the override file if we need to, but I'll show you a couple of things to be interested in at least. Now one thing you may need to change in here is going to be a time zone setting, so we'll go through. Let's find that one. It's right here. So this is set to Europe, Berlin. I am not in Europe, Berlin, and if you're not, you should change this as well. So I'm going to put it as America, Chicago. That's the time zone I'm in. We'll continue down. There's going to be a lot of things here. We don't really need to change any of this stuff. This is just going to set up volumes and things like that for all of our databases. We're just going to keep moving. Lots of details, lots of little bits of information, but nothing we need to change. So this just lines out our volumes. That's great. Everything here looks fine. We might get a little warning about the version number. I don't think Docker Compose really requires that anymore, but it's fine. We'll just leave it for now. We'll do Control-O to save, Enter, and then Control-X to exit. And now we're going to look at the override file. So we're going to do nano docker-compose.override. I think override, yeah, .yaml. And if we look here, there's a port mapping. So this is the port that you would access the site through. If your system is already using, if your host system is already using 8080, then you want to change this port on the left side. You do not ever change this port on the right side, only on the left side. If you need to change it, you could change it to 8082, or maybe you want to put it at 24311 for some reason. It's up to you what you set that to. It's just a port to access the web UI. We're going to set up a reverse proxy to it anyways, so it's really up to you. But if 8080 is in use, then definitely try to pick a different port. I'm going to just leave it at 8080. I don't have that in use on my system yet, so I should be okay. I'm going to hit Control-O just to save my changes again, and then Control-X to exit. And we should be set up and ready to start our Docker file. Now, I've pulled this down previously for testing and things and getting ready for the video, so it's not going to pull down the images for me. But if you want to just pull the images first, you can do Docker compose pull. It'll show you what it's going to pull down. If there's anything new, it'll tell you, hey, I needed to pull it. And you can see here, image is already being pulled, so that's fine. We don't need to pull it. And then here we've got these other ones that are already set up, so that's cool. Now we can start up our service. So we're going to do docker compose up-d, and then we're going to do 2 ampersands docker compose logs-f. So what this says is, bring up my containers from the images I pulled down, or pull down the images and bring up my containers, run them in the background detached or as a daemon, so even though I'm not seeing them running, they're running. And then show me the log output as they start up so I can watch for any issues. That's this second command here, and we can get out of that with Control-C whenever we're tired of looking at it, whenever we feel like everything's up and running fine, or if we need to get out and change something, we can. So we're just going to hit Enter. It's going to start up all of our different containers, and it's going to start running these logs up the screen. All right, we'll quit out of the logs there. Give it a little bit of time. It does take a while for this to get started up. We're just going to clear this out. I'm going to do IP-BR-4A, and I'm going to get the IP address of this server. So I'm just going to go to the IP address here initially, and I'm going to go here in my browser to that IP address at port 8080. Now, if you change the port number on the left side of that port mapping, don't forget to use the port number you changed it to. But we see the Zammad logo, and we see this get started. So we want to set up a new system, so that's super awesome. But before we do that, let's go set up our actual reverse proxy and make sure everything's getting proxied correctly, and then we'll go through the setup. And we also want to have our email ready so that we can actually run our email setup as well. Now, we're going to kind of skip through it on this because with Purely Mail, I can't set up an alias like I need to, but I can go into Zammad in the backend settings and change that once we're into the actual system. So first, let's just go set up our proxy. So I'm going to go here, and you can see I'm setting these things up, and you can see I've already got this kind of set, but I'm going to change it. So again, that was for testing. I'll show you how to do this. It's not that hard. We're going to go in here, and I'm going to log in. I'm going to remove this support option for just a minute. I'm going to say edit, or actually, yeah, we'll just delete it. Okay, so we've deleted that. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to add a new option, and I'm going to call this support.sysmainit.com, and I'm going to hit tab because I want it to turn into that little chip. And I'm going to paste in the IP address, but what I want is I want the private IP address because I've put this into my virtual private network that's on that system. So I'm going to go grab that real quick from DigitalOcean, and we'll just paste that in there, and then I'm going to point that to 8080. Once up to block common exploits, WebSocket support, and publicly accessible. I'm going to jump over here to the SSL tab. I'm going to say request a new certificate, force SSL, HTTP2 support, HSTS, and I'm going to agree to the terms of service for Let's Encrypt, and I'm going to hit save. Now, as long as Let's Encrypt can challenge that domain and get to the site, it's going to give us a Let's Encrypt certificate, and we get a nice HTTPS site. So let's just click here. Yeah, we got redirected to our HTTPS site, so now we're ready to run through the startup wizard and actually get our Zammad site set up. Now, before we get into the startup wizard, I want to talk about what we're going to do with our email, because Zammad works off of an email system that can receive emails and create tickets and send back out emails and things like that. So in Purely Mail, now if you're not using Purely Mail, that's okay. Just go create an email address for this, but create one specifically for this. But in Purely Mail, I created an email address called support@sysmainit.com. I gave that support authentication a nice strong password, things like that, so that we're all set up for it. Now we're going to set that up, but not in the wizard. So the wizard's going to ask us about email, but we're going to skip over that, and we'll do it in Zammad in the back end. So we're going to click here. It's going to ask us for our first name and last name and an email at sysmainit.com and my password. So I'm just going to create a password for this site, which I think I've already got one, so I'll just use it again. Yes, it's a nice strong password there. And I'm just going to click here on the create button. It's going to create our administrator account. And then we're going to give ourselves an organization name. So I'm sysmainit, right? This is my organization name. If you have a logo, you can upload that now. You can upload it later. It's kind of up to you. But if you want to upload it, we can click here and we can go look for, I'm going to look for my 1920 by 1080. I think I'll do this smaller one for now. I'm going to use the PNG here. And there's my logo. And then we've got support.sysmainit.com is the actual system URL that I want to use because it's already up here. It pulled it. If it doesn't pull it for you, just fill in the URL that you want to use. We're going to hit next. And then here it's asking about email. Now, if you already have your email set up and you can set up aliases, you can do this. But what it wants to do is it wants to set up our email as support@support.sysmainit.com, and I can't set up support.sysmainit.com because that's just not something I can do inside of Purely Mail easily. So it's not a problem. We're just going to skip for now. It's not a big deal. We're going to look at our connect channels, and again, email is the one that's set up. We're just going to say skip. It's fine. It's going to set up as finished, and it should just run through a quick setup, and it's going to bring up the Zammad interface. Now it's going to give you a nice little wizard that's going to tell you about a few things. So here's the dashboard. You can get a quick overview of your stuff. We're going to hit next. It's going to tell you up here is a search where you can search for the things that you're looking for, and you can use some things like star to find anything. So you can use that as kind of a wild card thing if you need to. You can put things in quotes to make sure it's getting the exact phrase you want. So pretty good search features there. Down at the bottom, it's got a create. So if you need to create a new ticket, you can do that. You can create new things with this. So just know that the plus button's here. You've got personal settings as well. So you can go down here and click on your user's information and get personal settings. We can go to next. And then, of course, we can go here to our overview so we can see what's going on in our system as well. So we'll finish out that little wizard. That's nice. It runs you through a nice little walkthrough, which is great. Now we need to go to settings actually. So we're going to go to settings and we're going to go down here to email. We're going to go to channels and email, and we'll see we've got this email account that's already set and it says outbound. So we're just going to do an edit here on this edit button. Now it's a little wonky because I have the screen blown up to make it easier for you guys to see, but I'm going to go to SMTP to configure our outbound email. And I'm going to say host is smtp.purelymail.com, I believe. Now we can always go look this up if you're ever not sure like what it should be. I believe for Purely Mail, we want to use our outgoing mail server is smtp.purelymail.com, and we're going to use for SSL 465 or 587 for Start TLS. It's kind of up to us which port we use. It supports both, so that's great. So we're just going to go back into our Zammad setup here, and we've got smtp.purelymail.com. My user is going to be support at sysmainit.com, so the full email address. And then we're going to put in that password for that email user. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to look this up. And then here it is. So I'm just going to grab the password that I set for that user. And the port we can set as 587. And then SSL verification is fine. So we're just going to click on continue. It's going to go out and challenge that. And you see it says, hey, yeah, I can't do this because it's not no reply at support.sysmainit.com. So this is that kind of weirdness that you get into. So we're just going to close this and we have to go change that. So over here in our settings, it's wanting to set this to no reply at our FQDN. We're just going to get rid of all of this stuff and we're going to say support at sysmainit.com. And we're going to say submit, so that it saves that. It's going to tell us the maximum email size. You've got some other settings here that you can set. We just want to make sure that we've got the right ones that we need. Now we're going to go back here and we're going to edit this guy. And again, we're going to change it to SMTP. We're just going to do the same setup. So you can skip this if you didn't do it already and just save yourself some time. And we'll submit again. And this time when it goes, it succeeds. So that's great. So we've got our outgoing email set up. Now there's a lot of stuff in here that you can do as far as settings for your branding and things like that. So right now the product name is called Zammad Helpdesk. You might want to change this to SysMainIT Helpdesk or whatever your organization name is, of course. And then SysMainIT. We've got our logo here already. We've got my user and email. We've got all this stuff set up. We've got the locale. Now again, you can change this. They've got different locales, so definitely go set this to the one that makes sense for you and the languages that you and your customers are using. I'm going to leave it on English United States. America Chicago it picked up because we set that in the system already. And then if you want to have a pretty date, it's going to show you like 2 hours ago. So it gives you different options for what you want to set. I'm just going to leave it like that. It's fine. If you make any changes, just click on the submit buttons along the way, and that way you've got everything set up the way you want. You've also got system settings, and don't forget that there's tabs across the top for some of these things. So we've got support.sysmainit.com. That's my FQDN. HTTPS is the one that I want to use, and the system ID is 11. I don't know if we need that right now, but we'll keep it in case. So services is Zammad image service. So defines the backend for user and organization image lookups. So it'll just look up images this way if we need to. Geo calendar service, it's going to use their own service. Geo IP service, so if you have a different IP service you want to use, you could probably go in and set that up, but right now we're just going to use the ones that they have for default. Storage, so it's just going to tell us a bit about the storage stuff. Database, we can use S3 if we want to set that up, or you can use the file system. For now I'm going to use database, it's fine, but we may have to change that at some point down the road. Network, so if we have a proxy we can set that up here as well. I don't have an outgoing proxy right now, so there's no need for that. So we've got a few settings, security settings. You've got a lot of stuff that you need to go through here and make sure you turn things on that you want to have. So password login, new user accounts, all these kind of things. Now we'll go and set this up for our OAuth system once they've got that little bug fixed. But for now, we're doing okay with this. We've got the ticket stuff. So we've got our ticket hook. We've got a lot of different things that we can use to kind of go in and create our tickets and start using the Zammad system as far as how that works. We've got this auto assignment, so you can set up auto assignments to go to different people if you need to. You've got notifications that you can enable. Lots of different kinds of notifications for the different types of tickets and things that are happening. Is it a new ticket? Is it an updated ticket? Is it a reminder for a ticket that you need, or a ticket escalation because something's going wrong? So you can set these up for different kinds of notifications. And then we've got the duplicate detection. So this is pretty nice because I've worked in lots and lots of ticketing systems, and there are inevitably tons of duplicate tickets. So finding those things, merging those things, getting rid of duplicates just keeps your system cleaned up and keeps you on task, which is really great. But you definitely want to go check out their documentation. Make sure you understand how to set this up so that you don't accidentally get rid of things or hide things that you didn't mean to. You want to have this working at a really nice pace and make sure that it's giving you the right information, and then you can turn that on. So as you go into the system, you've got all these different things. You've got integrations. So they've got a bunch of integrations that you can look at. So tons. So you may see something that you're like, oh man, I want to go set that up. That's cool. Go for it. Go set it up. They've got API stuff, so you can set up your API access, and that's a lot of times that's useful depending on you as a person and what kind of tools you're using. Sometimes the API is very useful, sometimes not so much. So you've got these different objects. So you've got these ticket objects, you've got user objects, organizational objects, and group objects, and they're just things that you can set up in the system for it to use. Right now, I'd say just leave that as it is. You've got your workflows, and right now there's none set up, but you've got these different workflows you can set up, and it's your core workflows. Transitions, so as things move through your process at your company, like somebody submits a ticket, that ticket gets escalated to your second level IT person, things like that you're going to want to have transitions available. It kind of streamlines the process of somebody trying to move a ticket from one process to another that it shouldn't be allowed to go to, so that's where they're talking about transitions. Data privacy is always important, especially in the EU where you've got GDPR going on. You want to make sure you've got your data privacy stuff set up correctly. Maintenance sections are always useful. You could have like in maintenance mode so that you can do some maintenance things. You could do different login stuff for your maintenance information so that people know, hey, this thing's in maintenance right now. You've got messages that you can put for your maintenance mode, things like that. Monitoring, so we're going to use Zabbix for most of our monitoring, but we can actually do some different kinds of monitoring if we need to, and they've got some health check stuff built in. So package management, if you add packages to the system, you can manage those things from here. I haven't really messed with the packages, so I can't go into it a lot, but it looks like it takes a little bit of effort to do that, so it may not do anything, just depending. We've got the sessions, so you can see your active sessions that are going on. So of course, right now, this is just me. And then you've got the version of the system, so you can see what version you're on, and you can compare that to their pages if there's any kind of updates available. Now up here, they've got a ton. You've got user management, so you can add more users, okay? So right here, you can see that we've got Nicole, somebody. I don't know why she's in here. She's the founder of Zammad, okay. I can just delete Nicole. I don't need her to be here. So it's going to create a deletion task. I'm going to select her to be deleted, delete her organization. Yeah, because I don't need her to be in my system to make sure that we really want to do this. So I like that because it makes sure like, hey, you're not deleting something by accident. Okay, so we've got a delete user task set, which is cool. So it'll do that task here in a little bit. We can go back to users. She's still going to be there until it gets rid of her, but we can see that it's set. You've got groups, so you can create different groups. You've just got a group called users right now, but you can go through and see what the groups can be created as. You've got roles, so what roles do those groups or users have? You've got organizations, and you can set up more than one organization in here, which is pretty nice. So maybe you've got different organizations you need to have set up for your different clients. Overviews, so all the things you may want to see, and you can add more overviews over time as you get used to it. You've got your text modules. Macros are always super useful, especially if you can kind of build those out to be something that helps you do your job easier. Templates, tags, calendars, SLAs, these are going to be super important. What is my service level agreement for my clients, and how do they find that so that they know what they've got? Triggers for different things that are going on that you may need the system to automatically do. Somebody puts in a super high priority ticket, you might want to have a trigger that says, send me a notification about that. I want to know about that right that second. Or maybe certain types of problems that you know are really more kind of something you need to be focused on, you can set those up. Public links, your webhook, scheduler. So webhooks are awesome, by the way, because you can set up notifications through things like Rocket Chat and stuff like that, which we'll also set up here in the future. Scheduler, report profiles, so creating the reports that you want, setting those up as profiles can really make it helpful for all your users, your managers, your different support folks, everything like that. Your time accounting, so if you want to have some time accounting built in, It does have time accounting for your users, which I mean for your support folks or whoever. It kind of helps you keep track of like how long are these things taking, how fast are we at resolving stuff as well. So that's a pretty useful feature. And then you've got your knowledge base. Now this is a big one that people have asked about a lot, and I know I'm getting to it kind of at the end, but I wanted to talk about it because it's pretty important. Knowledge base is such a useful thing for both your internal teams and your clients. So building out your knowledge base is super important. Building out the knowledge base in a way that gives your clients some ways to help themselves with your kind of FAQ, commonly asked, things, little issues people come across every single time you get them set up as new clients. That can help them just help themselves, and it makes them feel more empowered. But also having a knowledge base where your users, your people that work for you can go in and find the answers. Even for yourself, where you've worked on a problem and you solved it, documenting how you did that is so important, because I can't tell you how often I go back to my show notes and my videos to figure out how I got something running or what I did. I remember there was something special I had to do, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Somebody in the comments asked me a question, and I have to go look at those to kind of figure out like, okay, what did I do here? How did this work? And then I can answer a lot of times. So a knowledge base is super valuable all on its own, but having it built into your support system is just absolutely incredible. So again, a great reason why we're going with Zammad as part of our project. Now you've got the channels. So you've got web, so they can enable ticket creation to the web. Yes. Okay. So this is all the channels where you can get things sent into the system. Now, email is another one. We already looked at it. But this is our outgoing. We also want to set up an incoming email so that somebody could email us. And when it comes into whatever we create, maybe it's ticket or support or help or whatever, when it comes in, it creates a ticket for us, and we can have that routed to our people, us to start with, because I don't have any people, but eventually to the people who work for us, that we can say, hey, when this comes in, send it to Bob. He's going to handle these tickets as they come in. You do have SMS options. I'm probably not going to set this up, but it's there. Chat, I think, is super useful. At some point, this will probably have AI built into it. I'm not a huge fan of that. I want to have an actual person who's trying to help me solve my problem, but chat is awesome. We're going to try to set up SAML once it's ready and everything's fixed, but there you go. That's really the settings in a nutshell. I know that was super fast. You do have some charts, so you can go through here and kind of start looking at the charts, things like that. Put in some test tickets. Make sure to mark them in a way that you know that they were test tickets, but kind of check out how the system works. Get in there and really kind of see what's going on. Here's your overview of what's happening in the system. This is probably the place you would live the most as like a person who is helping people out. As a manager at some point, this is going to be your place to live a little bit, as your dashboard, your starting point. So just kind of know that. But over here you can see it's got this activity stream, which is great because you can see who's doing what's happening in the system. Kind of cool, kind of nice. I really like that quite a bit. So you can look here at first steps. Here's all the things they're saying, hey, this is something you should do. Configuration, email configuration. We need to go do that. We've done it a little bit. We need to do more. Invite agents and colleagues to help. Yes. Invite customers to create issues in Zammad. This is important. So we need to make sure we do these things, and it's got stuff set up in here so we can do this. So if you see it goes from an arrow to a hand, we can click on these and it will take us to the places we need to do that, or to the information we need to understand how to do that. Intro, create a test ticket. Create text modules, create macros, additional channels. Do we need to add in additional channels? We may want to do that. So run through this because that's on this tab right here. So make sure you go to this tab and you check these things out and get a check mark next to as many of them as you can. It's really going to help you get the system set up and ready for your first use. We have Zammad set up and running. This is awesome. I'm excited. You guys have been waiting on this one. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along on the open source journey with us. And I'll talk to you next time.